The rise of the... What? Okay, it's 1,000, 100,000, million, billion... The rise of the 200 billion Narco Submarine. Interesting. Okay, let's see what this is.
Officials say a semi-submersible vessel called a Narco Submarine
sees more than a ton of cocaine found floating.
Oh, those type of narcos. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be one of those.
Off the south coast.
The Coast Guard busted a narco sub smuggling 17,000 pounds of Colombian coke.
May 2023, across the Pacific Ocean.
What did you thought? I thought it was, I don't know, just a random name, like, you know, like something to do with narcissism, maybe, you know, maybe it was a narcissistic sub, so they called it a narco for short. I don't know. Much better submarine than the one Ocean Gate made, true.
A vessel, unlike any other, slices through the water. It moves silently. Its hull barely breaking the surface.
I know that now.
In the belly of this beast lie over 3 tons of cocaine.
3 tons? That's like your average Redditor, but just for cocaine. Damn!
One of many shipments that fuel a billion-dollar industry.
Those darn smugglers always getting into trouble. I see what you did there. That's half of you. Hey, I don't weigh 6 tons. What are you talking about? Coca-Cola.
In the 1970s, drugs were common in just about any place you can imagine.
Well, in certain cities, that's still true.
One drug was growing in popularity: cocaine. Cocaine's produced in Colombia, where drug cartels exploit the abundance of this product and export it into the United States and Europe. But during the 70s, the market was still in its formative stage. Wholesale prices could fetch anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 per kilogram. The street price would vary based on purity
and 70s money was a lot better than today's money, you know, because inflation and stuff.
And location. The common prices at the time would range from $100 to $150 per gram in the US. Cocaine production was
Central America on the way to create life-destroying drugs. Ah, damn it, not again.
Estimated at 70 to 100 tons a year. This generated revenue from cocaine smuggled into the US at up
the damn smugglers at it again.
to $500 million every year.
That's a lot of money.
No one could have expected what the next decade would bring.
Placa? I don't know, something.
The 1980s. Medellin, Colombia, a city gripped by the
Isn't Colombia in South America?
ambitions of one man, Pablo Escobar.
King Pablo, bro. It's a damn Mexicans all over again.
Pablo Escobar could be a charismatic type person.
He's got a nice mustache, though. I'll give him that.
To get what he wanted. But he could turn evil in a heartbeat, and you might be dead.
Very famous word established by Pablo Escobar: plata or plomo, bullet or money.
Under his ruthless command, the Medellin cartel transformed the cocaine trade from a small-scale operation into a global empire.
Pablo Escobar industrializes.
Ooh, it's a whole lot of boldness right there. Of course, with the Spanish-speaking folk down south.
The cocaine trade. He gathers a big group of different traffickers based in the city of Medellin.
By the mid-1980s, Escobar was shipping over 15 tons of cocaine into the United States every day.
Every day? Holy, that guy must have been rolling in cash. You know that gif of the fat black guy and his buddy who like just fall on a bed of cash in like a bank vault or something? That's literally him. One point every time they mention a country in Central and South America.
From $500 million annually in the 70s, they were now making almost 13.
They became billionaires overnight? Damn! That's from Breaking Bad? Yeah, that.
$1 billion a year. Cocaine was everywhere, in nightclubs, boardrooms, and penthouses. It fueled Wall Street's rise, became a symbol of excess in
Wait. The rise of Wall Street was fueled from cocaine? I don't know that.
Hollywood, and left a trail of blood and money in its wake. The Medellin cartel was in the limelight, but another Colombian group was slowly making a name for themselves.
The Cali Cartel, controlled by two brothers, Miguel and Gilberto Rodriguez Aurelia. For a decade, the brothers have had a gentleman's agreement with Pablo Escobar's more powerful Medellin cartel to divide up cocaine distribution in the United States.
while the Medellin cartel
I wonder if that ever goes bad. Why would you want to let a competitor run loose, you know? Just take his business.
focused on the US market, the Cali cartel saw the potential for bigger profits in Europe.
It is a marriage of convenience between Colombia's Cali cartel and the Italian mafia. When the Cold War ended, a new war began.
But for the cartels, success bred new challenges. The more they expanded, the more attention they attracted.
Yeah. You don't want to get to the 5-star attention level. That's when they bring in the Ferraris and the tanks.
They had different ways to see how we should fight this war against authorities. Escobar wanted to do it through violence. We wanted to do it by corruption.
As the DEA and Colombian authorities began to crack down, the risks of transporting cocaine grew exponentially.
In Miami today, 2 detectives were arrested on charges of shooting up the home of a drug dealer cooperating with federal authorities.
They needed a way to stay one step ahead, to move their product without drawing the watchful eyes of law enforcement.
Just send all of your cocaine in a giant package labeled the Epstein Files into America, and no government official is ever going to acknowledge its existence. It's as easy as that. Billionaire overnight, boys.
When that first cocaine was smuggled in on a ship, it may as well have been a deadly bacteria, but take my word for it, this scourge will stop.
Was he right? Did it ever stop? I don't think so.
These are familiar images that give the impression the U.S. is getting somewhere in the war against drugs. American agents raiding a jungle laboratory, burning mounds of confiscated coca leaves and processed cocaine.
Oh, so cocaine's from a coca leaf. I don't know that. Is it from the same coca that we make chocolate from? Just put it in a big trash bag with the label "Not Drugs" called. Yeah, there we go. It's a 200 IQ play right there.
In response to the cartel's growing power, the US launched Operation Snowcap in the late 1980s.
No, that's cacao beans? Oh, it's a different type of bean. Okay.
A coordinated effort involving the DEA, military, and...
This video, Miguel de Cervantes, the leader of the Serpent cartel in Colombia, made 44 tons of coke transported to the US.
Colombian authorities.
Pretty much.
The main goal of the operation was to destroy cocaine production at its source, targeting cultivation, processing, and distribution.
This operation is designed to not only shut down the Chapari, but to close it off permanently. The Chapari is the second biggest producer of coca in the hemisphere.
It was one of the largest and most aggressive anti-drug campaigns
I'm taking notes for whenever I do my Schedule 1 playthrough.
Ever undertaken. Hundreds of DEA agents coordinated with local police and military forces aggressively joining the operation. With farms being so dispersed, the DEA needed to target centralized locations. Helicopters swooped down on secret airstrips. Officers with guns raided jungle laboratories, and speedboats were chased down in high-octane pursuits across the Caribbean.
Why do you hate South
Over time, the pressure mounted on cartels. Traditional smuggling routes became more dangerous, and interceptions were becoming more frequent. In a single plane capture with 2 tons of cocaine...
Damn, that's a lot. Everything in Schedule 1 is homegrown caught. Yeah, but once we expand our operations, you know, we're gonna need some tips. Just spike them with painkillers for addiction in Schedule 1, of course.
The cartels lost up to $50 million. Every lost shipment meant millions down the drain, and the cartels could feel the noose tightening around their operations. But with so much money on the line, they did what they do best.
Schedule 1 co-op stream? Is it a co-op game? I don't know it was co-op.
They adapted. During the prime of the Colombian cartel, the main way for smuggling cocaine was via air. Planes would fly directly to small rural airstrips in places like Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, or they'd drop off the shipment at sea where they were picked up by boats.
But the actual game I want to play before that, like if I play any game right now, I would play Grandpa High on Retro. That game looks amazing. I have to try it.
With successful captures like the one spearheaded by Operation Snowcap, air trafficking became a major problem for the cartels. In the face of increasing pressure from law enforcement, the cartels turned to a new method of transport, the go-fast boat.
Gotcha.
Sleek, high-powered boats were capable of...
What do you mean what? I said that I'm very keen to play Schedule 1, but I'll see about buying it next month. But the real game that I did want to buy first is Grandpa High on Retro. You just need to search that up in Steam and just watch the intro for it. It explains itself. It is absolutely amazing.
Speeds exceeding 69 knots, allowing them to outpace patrol boats and even outrun some helicopters. Shifting to sea routes was a cheaper, low-risk alternative for the cartels. Boats don't need an airstrip to take off or land, and they don't have the same weight restrictions as planes. These boats transported...
They made a game about me, caught. Yep, absolutely. So the basic premise of the game is that you're basically like a retired, I think it was some sort of a military or CIA operative or whatever, but you're basically 80 years old. You get a call to transport some person, and if you do it successfully, she'll smash you. And so that energizes Grandpa to get on it immediately. So he takes his grandson on a wild escapade to rescue this person so he can, have the smashing. And then he meets her employee. The guy explains, yeah, I'm actually doing this just so I can smash your boss. It's absolutely wild. You have to see it for yourself.
Cocaine from Colombia to Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands. From there, the drugs were smuggled into the US and some parts of Europe. For a while, these boats were the perfect solution. Small, fast, and hard to catch.
Some new information about a...
Do you know how you catch them? A missile. Can't outrun those.
Large drug bust in Santa Barbara County. Local and federal officers...
I would make it law. If you're smuggling drugs into the country legally, the military has authorized use to use deadly force on your vehicle of transport. So if I see a boat full of 3 tons of cocaine, you're getting bombed. Simple as that. 100% guaranteed the drug's gonna go down. Somali powers versus these guys.
Intercepted a drug smuggling boat loaded with 3,000 pounds of pot on Saturday.
But as the DEA adapted, the game began to change. Radar systems were fine-tuned to detect these boats, Coast Guard helicopters deployed, and assault teams directed to intercept. The era of the go-fast boat was coming to an end.
And I assume once they stopped using the boats, they moved to submarines?
The cartels needed a new way to smuggle their product, something that could slip past radar, avoid aerial patrols, and navigate the vast ocean undetected.
The submarine.
After in the 80s, they were using the go-fast operations, but the go-fast were being detected on the radar. So they basically built these very sophisticated submarines.
Damn, imagine having that much money and influence that you can build your own submarines. That's wild. The Titanic Supreme?
So they could, avoid getting caught by police. It's that simple.
Police in Spain seized a homemade submarine.
The first Narco submarines were nothing more than crude, homemade boats constructed in hidden workshops far from the prying eyes of the authorities.
Submarine? Yeah, but it's close enough.
Built from fiberglass, wood, and any material the cartels could scavenge, these
Doesn't submarine mean below ocean? Well, technically it's the same thing, right?
These subs demonstrated the ingenuity and desperation of the cartels. Fiberglass was preferred because it's lightweight, flexible in construction.
It's a submarine. Ah, okay.
And for its non-metallic properties. This helped reduce radar and sonar detection. The cartels disposed of the vessels after a single use.
I mean, if it's just made up of stuff like fiberglass, it's probably really cheap to build.
The early Narco submarines varied in size from 9 to 15 meters long and used modified diesel engines to operate at low speeds to save fuel. A downside of these engines was that they could only go up to speeds of 6 to 8 knots, but could travel as far as 1,500 to 2,000 nautical miles. Compartments were often cramped with just enough space for a small crew and cargo between 1 and 3 tons. They were semi-submersible vessels, meaning they could skim just below the surface of the water, almost invisible to radar and patrol boats.
Okay.
But these early subs were far from perfect. They were slow, difficult to maneuver, and prone to mechanical failure.
I wonder how much money they would pay for a guy who can design a submarine.
Despite these setbacks, the cartels persisted. With each sub captured, they learned, adapted, and refined their designs. They began using better materials, more efficient
this one looks like it's made out of steel.
Engines, and improved navigation systems. They'd found a way to bypass radar, avoid detection, and carry their product across the ocean, even as law enforcement adapted to their every
That's the type of stuff I'd make in a building simulator. Building a weapon simulator? Yep.
And as the cartels continued to refine their designs, the stakes grew higher, the risks more profound, and the game more dangerous than ever.
I wonder when they're going to start slapping torpedoes on to protect their cocaine. That'll be wild.
The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime says that global cocaine production has jumped to record levels over the past 2 years.
Unironically make a great video game idea?
The cocaine trade is a huge deal, generating billions each year. Every
Schedule 2, boys. Coming soon.
Successful shipment could yield hundreds of millions in profit, funding everything from luxury lifestyles to political corruption. But with law enforcement growing more adept at intercepting old ways of smuggling drugs, the cartels faced mounting financial pressure.
You're looking here at the largest narco submarine ever seized in Colombia, 100 feet long, 10 feet wide, with...
So that's about 30 meters? Damn! Look, it's out of a house! Schedule 2 submarine boogaloo.
3 tons of cocaine on board, worth more than $100 million, according to Colombia's Navy.
This relentless drive for profit became the fuel that powered the evolution of narco submarines, pushing them from simple semi-submersibles to advanced boats capable of full submersion and the ability to cross entire oceans undetected. As the demand for cocaine surged in North America and Europe, so too did the need for more efficient transportation. It wasn't enough to just move the product. The cartels needed to move it faster, farther, and in greater quantities than ever before. The battle between the cartels and law became more intense, more technologically advanced, and more...
I think they hit an iceberg in the sand, right?
Ruthless.
Unless it was sabotage. Oh. Maybe somebody wanted to go down.
The Coast Guard, DEA, and even the US Navy deployed the latest in radar, sonar, and drone technology to track the narco subs that lurked beneath the waves. But for every technological advancement, the cartels found a countermeasure. They began to design subs with stealth capabilities, coated with materials that absorbed radar signals, equipped with heat-dispersing technology to avoid infrared detection, and using communication systems that mimicked the patterns of commercial boats to blend into sea traffic.
After an intense search, the U.S. Coast Guard...
Bro, they're really upgrading their fleets.
...has captured
they're playing Age of Empires here.
A one-of-a-kind drug smuggling submarine the agency named Bigfoot. Officials say the sub featured new technology, allowing it to avoid drug enforcement radar and sonar screens as it skimmed the surface of the Atlantic and Caribbean Oceans.
Earlier narco subs had parts of their structure like the cockpit and exhaust visible above the waterline. To counter aerial surveillance, they reduced the size of visible parts, which allowed more of the vessel to skim below the waterline, barely exposing the top of the cockpit. The cartels then reinforced the hulls of their vessels for heavier payloads, allowing later semi-submersibles to carry between 6 and 10 tons of cocaine. The improved streamlining of the vessel's hull with a more efficient engine allowed for higher speeds and better fuel efficiency. Semi-submersibles could travel over 2,000 nautical miles, reaching farther destinations with fewer risks of interception. It became a true arms race, with both sides constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Law enforcement agents underwent rigorous training, learning how to spot the subtle signs of a narco sub in transit. Despite the DEA's...
You know what I would have done? Blow them up. They're an unauthorized vessel. A submarine of all things. In my sea space. Nuke. Okay, not nuke, but just bomb them. If you had to bomb a couple of these narco subs, guaranteed they would stop using them. Almost immediately.
Best efforts, many subs continue to slip through undetected, delivering their cargo for distribution throughout the US and Europe. This was happening even after major players were taken out by the DEA. The death of Pablo Escobar in 1993 and the end of the Cali cartel in 1995 were major milestones in the war against drugs. But cocaine was still making its way across the ocean because a new group capitalized on the opportunity to control the drug trade.
The Schedule 1 players, boys. Here we are.
The Sinaloa cartel was founded by Ismael Zambada Garcia and his associates Hector Salazar, Ignacio Coronel Villarreal, and Joaquin Guzman Larrea, better known
some heavy
as
Spanish
El Chapo.
names.
Its
El
inception
Chapo?
predicates a former section of the Guadalajara cartel based in Culiacan, Sinaloa.
I don't know
By
what
the early
Sinaloa is.
2000s, the Sinaloa cartel had emerged as the undisputed king of the drug trade. Under the ruthless leadership of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, they perfected the use of narco subs, turning them into a formidable weapon in their arsenal. With an empire that stretched across continents, the Sinaloa cartel leveraged its vast resources to build more advanced submarines capable of evading the most advanced surveillance technologies. These weren't just smuggling boats, they were symbols of the cartel's power and ambition. They represented a willingness to do whatever it took to stay ahead, to outwit law enforcement, and to ensure
I'm
that...
surprised they stuck on submarines for so long instead of searching for another means of exporting their goods. But it kind of shows the dedication that they're able to upgrade it so massively, you know, whenever something came up, they were like, yep. They basically turned into an arms race of who could make the better, you know, sneaky submarine versus who could make the better, you know, stealth detection. Yes, let's add a weapons charge on top of the smuggling. I feel like if you get caught smuggling that many drugs and you're not an American citizen, bomb them and then stop immediately. Problem solved.
That their product reached the lucrative markets of the United States, Europe, and beyond. The rise of the Sinaloa cartel marked a new chapter in the evolution of narco subs, one defined by unprecedented sophistication and ruthlessness. When narco subs first arrived on the scene, they were often semi-submersibles designed to float just below the waterline, making them harder to spot by law enforcement. These early designs were made of lightweight materials, with buoyancy set to stay just beneath the surface. But this made them vulnerable to detection from above because they couldn't fully submerge under the water. In 2006, a semi-submersible vessel was intercepted by US authorities off the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. It was 15 meters long, carrying 4.5 tons of cocaine. At the time, this was worth $135 million in the US and up to $270 million in Europe. By the late 2000s, the Sinaloa cartel began investing in fully submersible submarines. These vessels could dive underwater, making them nearly invisible to radar, sonar, and aerial detection. Unlike semi-submersibles, fully submersible vessels needed advanced buoyancy control, waterproofing, and a propulsion system that could work at greater depths, 20 to 30 meters below the waterline. The hulls were streamlined to make them pressure-resistant underwater, and the engines were modified by using mufflers to reduce the noise. They're equipped with GPS technology that allows them to travel thousands of nautical miles undetected. These fully submersible vessels carried 9 to 13 tons of cocaine, essentially tripling their profits from a single transport. With the ability to travel longer distances and increased cargo capacity, the payoffs for the cartels were even better. In 2010, Ecuadorian authorities seized the first fully submersible narco submarine. The vessel was equipped with an advanced navigation system, a diesel-electric engine, and a crew compartment that could support multiple people for extended voyages. It was carrying 7 tons of cocaine. Despite the relentless efforts of law enforcement, the cartels continued to push the boundaries, refining their narco sub technology with every passing year. For every sub that was captured, more went under.
Maybe this video is actually an essay on the military-industrial complex of the cartels.
Detected, each built with new designs more advanced than the last.
The sophistication is off the charts. They have billions of dollars. So resources are not an issue. But the most important thing that everyone has to realize is they're in the business to make money.
With the advanced technology of narco subs, the fortunes of the cartels increased exponentially. By the mid-2010s, the ocean had become the primary playground.
We've seized 100 tons of cocaine. What? 80 tons of cocaine? Yes, dispatch 10 tons of cocaine. Don't show Moses guy, he thinks his accent is hilarious. It is pretty funny, not gonna lie. Also, hey Asunder, welcome man, how you doing? I was just about to say, regarding this thing, I wonder just how often it happens where any sort of like police or military when they confiscate, you know, these hordes of illegal drugs. I wonder just how many times some of that just, you know, goes missing or is reported to be an incorrect amount, and the missing amount, you know, gets pocketed by the cops. Because guaranteed it would happen down here. It's like, what's that? We found 100 kgs of copper? Yeah, we actually found, you know, 30 kgs of copper. Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see the new Lamborghini that I bought last week? Yeah, crazy.
Of the drug trade. Each successful delivery meant hundreds of millions in earnings for the cartels. In the United States, wholesale prices could range between $25 and $35,000 per kilogram. In Europe, because of transport costs and high demand, the prices are higher at $40,000 to $85,000.
I still say it's under Cobra. If there is a sub or any type of transport vehicle that's transporting tons of illegal drugs, bomb it. Don't put them in handcuffs and then bomb the whole thing. Kaboom.
$1,000 per kilogram.
Guaranteed, the drug trade would go down massively after that.
Making a 7-ton delivery worth as much as $595 million. This money fueled expansion across continents, corruption, and violence. With these profits, the cartels weren't just sustaining their operations. They were growing it, spreading.
Not pre-watch, I just happen to know where it was going.
Their influence into new territories and funding even more ambitious smuggling projects. But the cartels weren't the only ones evolving. As narco sub technology advanced,
catch it, free sub. Yeah, but you're probably not going to be able to use it. I mean, they're probably pretty bad versus actual military submarines.
Too did the tools used to track and intercept them. Around the world, law enforcement agencies began to collaborate, sharing intelligence, technology, and resources to counter the growing threat posed by these vessels.
Technology has played a
huge is that a railgun? Better be a railgun.
You know, that really gives us an edge on tracking down targets and, you know, allowing us to catch the bad guys.
From high-resolution satellite imagery to underwater sensors that could detect even the faintest engine hum, no expense was spared in the fight against narco subs. Drones became the eyes in the sky, patrolling vast stretches of ocean while...
Harpoon gun? What's a harpoon gun gonna do? That's for catching fish, right? Not submarines.
Advanced sonar systems scanned the depths for any sign of these elusive boats. The Coast Guard, often on the front lines of this battle, began training in new interception techniques, learning how to board and disable narco subs.
Well, I know it works underwater, but I don't know it was meant for catching submarines.
In some of the most challenging conditions imaginable.
In the last few years, cocaine trafficking in Colombia has reached record levels. From here, roughly half the supply is shipped to Europe.
You should do what El Salvador did. Put them all in jail. Problem solved. Harpoons will kill a man? Well, yeah, I know they're gonna kill a person, but submarine is a little bit more tough than a human being.
Africa, Asia, and Australia.
So I assume that when you're using them, you know, as a Coast Guard person, I assume when they jump out and they start swimming underwater, then you just harpoon them, you know, right in the cheeks.
The other half will end up in the United States.
The rise of narco subs wasn't just a problem for the Americas. It became a global issue, reshaping the very landscape of drug trafficking across the world.
Coke float. The world seems to be...
Oh, I remember this Indian lady. I think she appeared a couple of times on Asmongold's streams a few weeks back.
Obsessed with it, especially Europe. Disclaimer,
Gotta
we
go
aren't
enjoy
talking
stream.
about
So
ice cream and cola. This story is about the drug cocaine floating on water. And tons of...
This is also the first time I've ever heard a voice in times 1 speed, because I always watch my YouTube in times 2 speed.
But literally.
Europe, once considered a secondary market, suddenly found itself flooded with high-quality cocaine delivered by boats that could evade even the most stringent sea security measures. In countries like Spain and the Netherlands, authorities began to seize record amounts of cocaine, often concealed within seemingly legitimate shipments or hidden inside narco subs that had traveled thousands of nautical miles undetected.
After years of West Africa being used by criminal cartels as a transshipment hub for illegal drugs headed for Europe from Asia and South America, the 15-nation group ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, launched a new anti-drug effort in September 2016.
But it wasn't just Europe that felt the impact. West Africa emerged as a critical transit hub, with cartels using its remote coastlines and poorly monitored ports to offload their cargo.
Makes sense, right? Because there's less, sophisticated detection technologies that they have in the middle of the African beach. And also, I imagine that their coast guards or whatever are much less equipped to deal with this. So it makes sense, you want to go to somewhere quiet that you can easily sneak into and then just, transport it by road or train track or whatever into Europe. Makes sense. I can see how that works.
Before it was shipped to Europe. Being a transit hub, the wholesale prices were lower at $12,000 to $20,000 per kilogram. The narco subs had fundamentally changed the dynamics of global drug trafficking, creating new routes, new markets, and new opportunities for cartels to expand their reach.
Farming industry? No idea. I don't think we farm that stuff here in South Africa. If we do, I don't know about it.
In 2023,
I'm farming copium all the time, though, that's for sure.
Based on production and wholesale prices from different regions, the global cocaine market had an estimated value of $193 billion. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. The battle between the cartels and law enforcement is far from over.
Just bomb all the cartels, problem solved.
As long as there's demand, as long as there's money to be made, narco subs will continue to evolve. The cat and mouse game between the DEA and the cartels will continue to drive technology forward in both the capabilities of semi-submersibles and their destruction.
Interesting video. We learned about some drugs today. Nice. I'll give it a like. Very informative. I like that. Crime, unlike war, is never given enough credit for spurring on human ingenuity. Joke. Alright, clappies, boys. Congratulations to drugs for winning the war on drugs. Yep.